Hello, this is a tutorial for higher music students. The concepts that we're going to cover in this tutorial are string quartet, chamber music, Impressionist, Countermelody, Arco, Pizzicato, Pentatonic, pedal, and Ostinato. As we know from the understanding music exams, in a higher paper you will be tested on concepts ranging throughout national 3, 4, 5 and up to higher, so that's why I have included a mix. The piece that we're going to focus on in this tutorial is a string quartet written by Maurice Ravel in 1903. This style of music is Impressionism, which is a 20th century style which emerged in France. Impressionist music tends to be really dreamy and very expressive, but with kind of ambiguous tonality and blurred lines and a kind of vagueness to the music. Please can you write your name at the top of your notes and write out the concepts that we're going to cover today, and when you've done that, please enjoy listening to this excerpt. So the first notes that I'd like you to take is that this is a string quartet, and a string quartet is made up of 4 musicians and they all play a stringed instrument. So if you remember a quarter is a fourth, hopefully you can remember that a quartet means 4 people. So there's 4 people in a string quartet: violin 1, violin 2, viola and cello. So there's actually 2 violins. Sometimes students make an error thinking that a string quartet has to be different members of the string family. So they say 1 violin, viola, cello and maybe double bass. Actually it's 2 violins, a viola and a cello. So first of all, make your notes about the string quartet. And the first instrument that I'd like us to focus on is the cello. So I'm going to play the beginning of the extract again, and can you identify the playing technique in the cello? So the cello is the bass instrument in a string quartet. It's the lowest pitched instrument in the string quartet. So listen to that extract again and really focus on the bass notes. How are they played? Yes, the cello part was played pizzicato, and that means to pluck the string. So there's 2 playing techniques of stringed instruments. You can either pluck the strings or you can use a bow and draw the bow over the strings. And what you heard there in the cello part was pizzicato. The other 3 instruments, the 2 violins and the viola, were playing arco. So you must remember these Italian terms for the playing techniques. So make a note of arco is to use the bow, and pizzicato is to pluck the strings. Unfortunately, at higher level, if you were to write plucking or using the bow, you may not be awarded the mark. So you must make sure you remember the Italian terms, Pizzicato and Arco. Now we're going to stick with the cello actually, and they're going to be playing Arco. I want you to listen really carefully to what the cello does in this part of the music. Now the cello part is marked arco and piano, so it's playing with the bow, but it's quiet. So I'll play the extract again and really focus on the cello part. And can you describe what's happening there? Can you hear that the cello is sustaining a continuous note? It's actually marked as a C sharp. To help you hear that, the second violin is also playing a pedal, and that's the concept that I'd like you to write down now. Pedal. A pedal is a sustained note. You're hearing it here in the bass part, and it carries on for quite some time. Meanwhile, the other parts are doing much more interesting things, but the pedal note really anchors the harmony. So listen one more time, focus on the cello part, and you can listen out for the second violin as well if you like. They are playing an example of a pedal. Listen to the very end of the extract, and can you identify the two playing techniques that you can hear? That's right, it was Pizzicato and Arco, and I just wanted to go over that one more time. So Pizzicato is plucking the strings and Arco is using the bow. So let's go over the concept of chamber music. As you know now, a string quartet has 4 players, and that doesn't take up very much room. So you can actually have string quartets playing in people's houses, and 200 years ago, 100 years ago, the rich and famous would be entertained in very fancy chambers of the aristocracy. So chamber music is small group ensembles that can fit in a room. String quartets, you probably have wind quintets as well, trios, soloists and piano. And you can imagine a very refined and civilized evening in a beautifully decorated chamber of some nobleman or woman in a house. This is chamber music. So string quartet, 4 people, chamber music, small groups of musicians that would play in posh houses for entertainment. Please could you write that into your own words? Thank you. So pentatonic is a national 4 concept, meaning that there are 5 notes in a scale. You might have come across this word when you've been listening to Scottish music, because a lot of Scottish waltzes and melodies like Auld Lang Syne are actually pentatonic. So write some notes about pentatonic music while you listen to this extract where the first violin is playing a melody which is pentatonic. And listen to that one more time, really focusing on the first violin melody. So pentatonic music is music that contains 5 notes. If you think of the pentagon shape, it has 5 sides. The Pentagon building in the United States, again, has 5 sides. So pentatonic music with 5 notes. So the next concept that we're going to revise is the National 5 concept of countermelody. So a simplified word for melody is tune, something interesting and lyrical. When you have a countermelody, it means an extra tune. So it's a melody that happens at the same time as, I suppose, the original melody or the main melody. And it can be scored higher in pitch or lower in pitch, but it's the extra melody, not the main melody. So listen to this excerpt where you have the counter melodies actually played by the first violin, and the viola who sits in between the violins and the cellos in a string quartet. The viola is playing the first theme. So the main melody is the viola, and the counter melody, written higher in pitch, is the violin. Have a listen to this. So I want you to listen to that again, because the viola part, which is the main melody, is really, really quiet. So you're listening for a lower pitched main melody, which is the first theme that the viola is playing, and you're listening for the counter melody, which is going on at the same time, written higher in pitch in the first violin part. So I'm going to play it one further time, just to really give you the opportunity of hearing a melody and a counter melody occurring together at the same time. Don't forget to write your notes. So our final concept of this tutorial is a National 3 concept, an ostinato. And I'm sure you're very confident with your understanding that an ostinato is a pattern that repeats again and again and again, and it doesn't change. So in music, that could be a rhythmic ostinato, or it could be a melodic ostinato. And I want you to listen to the viola part in this extract. It's playing a triplet of 3 quavers and a dotted minim, so that's a 3-beat note, over and over again. So tune into the viola part and listen out for the ostinato. What you're actually listening out for is da-da-da-dum. And I apologise for my singing there, but it's just because, again, because this music is typically impressionist, everything is quite vague and dreamy, so you've really got to listen carefully to the different parts. So the viola part, da-da-da-dum, over and over again, provides an ostinato. See if you can hear that. And I will just play that for you one more time, but don't worry, I won't sing it this time. And that brings us to the end of the tutorial. So just to recap, the concepts that we have covered today are string quartet, chamber music and impressionist music, countermelody, ostinato, pizzicato and arco, pentatonic and pedal. Please can you photocopy your notes or type them up and photograph them, send them to me on Teams. That would be fantastic. Thank you very much.